Good. Coffee's done. Y'all want a cup? I'll make you one. Good morning, my friends. How's everybody doing today? This is the fourth and final part of my summer 2025 travel series. And anytime you guys go on a trip, there's stories behind the scenes, behind the pictures, behind the videos. I wanted to share some of those stories with you. Now, I want to lay a little bit of foundation for one of these stories. My primary focus is in what's called medical psych, but my secondary specialization is in police and military psych. Now, I have many different relationships with several different departments and several online groups for first responders. As part of that, I met a wonderful officer by the name of Leslie. Now, Leslie had heard my story about going through colorectal cancer. She had went through breast cancer, and her department created a special patch outlining it in pink, for her breast cancer fight. And here in my story, she actually sent me one of those, and I was truly touched. Now, the thing is, there are people who are avid patch collectors. I'm really not. But my buddy Matt in Milwaukee, he has a patch wall getting built. And so I had this wonderful idea. I have to take Leslie's patch to be a part of that patch wall. It'll have a permanent home there. I was pretty excited about doing that. Now, the story about the patch is going to come up a little bit later, so just hang on to that, all right? In part two, you saw that I wanted to surprise a sailing site shipmate by the name of Heather. And I knew she was from Traverse City, so I had bolted up there so that I could get an early start and surprise her at her coffee stand at the marina the next morning. It was that evening before that I found an article that she had sent me about her coffee stand, and I found out that she was in a town called Escanaba. Well, that couldn't be too far away. Well, if you watched part two, you saw, yeah, that was over 4 hours away still, across the Mackinac Bridge over on the Upper Peninsula. So I woke up early the next morning. It was so important that I wanted to surprise her. I bolted on over there. One of the things that shocked me, now she knew I was in Michigan, but the last she had seen, I was down in Grand Haven. You know, hundreds of miles away. I ought to look that up to see exactly how far away it was. So I did not think she would expect me. It literally cracked me up. I got out of my car. I'm walking up, behind the coffee stand. She turns, she looks at me, and instantly, Captain Doc. I thought she'd have to do a double take or something. But no, she knew me right away, and I had mentioned to her later. I said, "What? How'd you know it was me so quick?" And she said, "Well, the beard. Maybe I shouldn't have trimmed it off so much, guys. I mean, apparently that was part of my calling card. But that's something that really kind of cracked me up. One of the real highlights of my trip was I decided to cross into Canada. I have traveled to many different countries. I've actually never been to Canada before. I've been close, but never went in. And I'm like, hey, if I'm going to be this close, we ought to go ahead and do that. And I had two main goals. I wanted to cross into Canada and have poutine in Canada. You might have seen that in part two of the travel series. But also to have a double double from Timmy Hortons. Now, I didn't even know what that meant, but I just know that Dan from Sailing Uma said that that's what I was supposed to have. So I wanted to make sure to check those boxes. Crossing into Canada. Oh, you should have seen the smile on my face going across the bridge. I was so excited. Uh, the Canadian border agent. I pull up, I hand over my passport, my real ID, and let them know Dr. Frisbee, one night stay, Sault Ste. Marie. Oh, that's great, eh? Welcome to the great country with the great people. It sure is good to have you, eh? So, don't you know for sure that I would love to see the video of my face. I thought he was punking me. I literally, I was waiting for Ashton Kutcher. He, he's playing this up. That can't be real. right? I mean, I think it was real. I really it's the friendliest person ever. Friendliest person ever. But my goodness, they really do talk that way. So number one, Canadian border agents, if I actually ever have a Canadian border agent listen to this, please, are you told to play it up extra? All right. I kind of need to know that. Also, do you keep videos of the people crossing in? Because if so, I'll send you the date and time that I crossed because I'd love to see the look on my face because I totally did not believe that this was for real. Well, suddenly the Canadian border agent asked me, he goes, "So, how long you been on, eh?" Sorry? Yeah, how long you been on the force, eh? Oh, police psych? Well, I've been doing that since '07, so, 18 years or so. Oh, that's great. Don't you know for sure, uh, wow, technology. I had no idea that just with my passport, they knew that not only was I a doctor, but specialized in police psychology. The technology information way more advanced than what I thought. And as we're wrapping up, I finally had to ask him, how did you know that I was in police psych? Oh, what are you talking about, eh? And he holds up the patch from Leslie. Somehow Leslie's patch that was meant to go to Matt in Milwaukee ended up in my passport and he thought I was giving it to him. I couldn't ask for it back. I couldn't. He was too nice. He was too excited because oh yeah, normally I have patches too to give out, eh? But I'm just all out now. Oh no. The- Mr. Canadian border agent, I hope you enjoy that patch. You know what? It was for you. The universe decided that was for you. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell you the story about me getting into a fight with a Canadian. Okay, so here's how it went. I know you're curious, right? I'm there at Timmy Hortons getting my double double, and I'm standing in line, standing in queue, and all of a sudden, the person in front of me turned and almost ran into me. And he looks at me, he goes, "Oh, sorry, eh?" And I'm like, "Oh, not a problem, my fault." No, 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 it was me. Right? No, no, I apologize. So we're arguing over who got to take the blame for it. Man, I love you Canadians. You guys are great. So to all my Canadian friends, Scott, Lisa, LMG, Adrian, Farah, Beth, Nate Dubb, are you also from Canada? Well, anyway, folks, I love it up there. Great country. I'll definitely be back. Hope I can meet you. Now, crossing back into the United States, I heard that there was a little more to it. Well, and that was true. And I made sure to come back in as early in the morning as was feasible for me. The United States border agent was okay. Well, what were you doing in Canada? I said, just wanted to go over and have some poutine in Canada and a double double from Tim Hortons. And he's, well, how long were you there? One night. You were only there one night. Yeah, one night. Why were you only there one night? Poutine and a double double from Tim Hortons. Yeah, no, seriously, what took you to Canada in the first place? I'm not sure where I lost you. Poutine and a double double from Tim Hortons. Yeah, I knew for sure he was going to search the car, which was fine by me. I mean, I had nothing in the car, but eventually he ended up letting me on through. And truthfully, I know people get frustrated by that. Hey, I'm glad that they take that close of a look. Seriously, in fact, I would have been fine if he searched the car too. But yep, was just there to check a couple boxes. Now, quick little family story. You folks know my last name is Frisbee. Okay. My dad, however, was originally born with the last name Butterfield. Whenever his mom and Clarence Frisbee got married, they adopted each other's kids, and that's how my dad's last name changed. And he was very young, 5 or so, changed from Butterfield to Frisbee. Now, I know that seems pretty random, but stick with me here. Remember in part three, I toured the tugboat, the John Purvis. Okay. And again, folks, go do that. It was really neat. Well, the John Purvis was not its original name. In fact, let me throw this picture up and look very closely. Can you see what her original name was? Now, here's another picture that I took from the bridge. This one's a little bit easier to see. Let me give you a moment. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in case you happen to miss it. What an interesting connection. And sure enough, the John Purvis, the Butterfield, was built in the Northeast, which is where I'm originally from, Philadelphia. What just an interesting connection that I happened to stumble upon on this adventure. Now, you folks might remember that I was going to Milwaukee to visit my dear, dear friends, Matt and TJ. Now, if you paid attention to part three of the travel series, you saw pictures of Matt, but no pictures of TJ. TJ, the photographer, doesn't like her picture taken. So here she is. I thought I did pretty good. I mean, I'm not much of an artist, but ha, TJ, I put your picture on. Okay, here's my favorite story. Are you ready? Now, I already mentioned that part of my big plan for this trip is I wanted to surprise Sailing Psych shipmate Heather and eventually tracked her down to a town called Escanaba. Well, I mentioned in part two that my dear friend and primary care physician, Dr. Russ Kennedy, one of his best friends, Dr. Cooley, was also somewhere in northern Michigan and had a tugboat. I wanted to visit him. Again, take a look at part two of the series. Uh, while I was crossing into Canada, I just shot a message over to Dr. Kennedy. Hey, buddy, I'm going into Canada. And he goes, oh, and by the way, my friend Cooley, he's in Escanaba. Oh my gosh, I was in Escanaba that morning. Well, fortunately, I was able to meet up with Cooley on my way back through, heading down towards Milwaukee, and it was a great visit. And oh my goodness, his ship, Seabird Two, absolute beauty. Oh my goodness. Dr. Cooley, let me come boating, sailing, whatever you want to call it. Please, please, please. Anyway, so my buddy's best friend is in Escanaba. The whole one of the major points of doing this was to see Heather in Escanaba. They were at the same marina. Their boats are docked on the same slip, almost right across from each other. Take a look at this. Folks, how is that for a small world story? My goodness. Whenever I was talking to Dr. Cooley and I said, hey, do you happen to know Heather, the coffee? Oh, yeah, Heather with the coffee stand. Yeah. Oh, okay. I love me a small world story. And if you were curious, total miles of this trip 2,662.8. Pretty good trip. So there you have it. The stories behind the scenes, behind the pictures, behind the videos of my summer 2025 travel series around Lake Michigan by land. Yeah, with a couple of pit stops to Canada and Lake Superior, right? Folks, my friends, get out there, travel, experience, see things. Most important, make memories. If you don't have somebody to go with you, try it by yourself. I had a blast. I really did. There were times that I just sat there and kind of opened up the maps and figured, okay, where do I feel like going now? And just on a whim, I'm going to go see this or I'm going to go do this. Go make those memories. You've heard me say it before that we never know exactly how much time we have, do we? We never know when we're going to get to the place where we can't travel anymore. Go make memories, because when you can't do these things, I want your head just filled with the most fantastic, the most phenomenal memories that you can truly say, you know what? I did that. Memories, not regrets. Okay, I'll stop preaching. But hey, until next time, fair winds following seas. Don't forget to find that sailboat. Dock out.